Hello guys, I hope you all are doing fine. Today we are going to talk about chapter 4, grade 6 CBSE, and the name of the chapter is An Indian American Woman in Space, and she is none other than Kalpana Chawla. So this lesson gives us insight about what happened during her second flight to space. She was an Indian American, that magical woman who knew almost each and every subject in depth, in detail, and became one of the few Indians, rather the first Indian, to be on board in the US Space Shuttle Columbia and the first woman born in India to go into space. So let's see. Before you read, I want to share this information that she is Kalpana Chawla and that's how a rocket takes off. So in 1997, an Indian American, Kalpana Chawla, was part of the international crew aboard, which means on the US Space Shuttle, which is there, from Columbia, becoming the first woman in India to go into space. Sadly, the second mission in Columbia ended in tragedy, which means disaster. Now in 1997, she made a successful trip to the space and becoming the first woman to be born in India to go to space. But however, fate had something else for her, and during her second mission, we didn't get her back. Could never get to see her again. So let's see and get some insight about her life. Tragedy in space, US Space Shuttle Columbia breaks into flames. Flames basically means it breaks into fire. So there was a tragedy that took place, which means a disaster that took place in the US Space Shuttle Columbia, and that breaks into small pieces into fire. So in an unprecedented basically means uncommon, unparalleled, something that took place for the very first time. In an unprecedented space tragedy, US Space Shuttle Columbia, carrying the Indian-born American astronaut Kalpana Chawla and 6 others, broke apart into flames as it streaked over Texas. The shuttle lost its over Texas towards its landing strip on 1st February 2003 Saturday, killing all 7 on board. The shuttle lost contact with NASA at 9 a.m., which is 19 hours, 30 hours according to Indian Standard Time, as it came in for landing. It was flying at an altitude, which means at a height above sea level, of over 2 lakh feet and traveling at over 20,000 km per hour when ground control lost contact with the shuttle. Columbia had lifted off on 16th January 2003 from Kennedy Space Center, Florida. So this is in which she went to the outer space, that space shuttle. It had stayed in orbit for 16 days and 7-member crew conducted 80 experiments before it began its downward journey, which ended in tragedy. This was Columbia's 28th space flight, and the shuttle was said to be for good 400 flights. So it was now here guys, streaked means it basically covered with stripes. When it broke out into flames, the Columbia Space Shuttle, it covered the entire place, that Texas, into small pieces of that space shuttle. So now what happens here is Now, the US Space Shuttle Columbia, which was carrying our well-known Indian-born American astronaut Kalpana Chawla, and there were 6 other members. It crashed over Texas while it was on its way back and landing on Saturday, 1st of February 2003, and killed all 7 people on board, which means they were on the aircraft or in the aircraft, or in the space shuttle. So the shuttle, it unfortunately lost its contact with NASA at about 9 a.m. as it was landing, and it was flying at quite a good height of 2 lakh feet, which is a reasonable height, and it was traveling at a very fast speed of over 20,000 km per hour when it lost its control with the ground. And if we talk about when did it take off, it took off on 16th of January 2003 from Kennedy Space Center, which is in Florida, and it did orbit around the Earth for 16 days, and all the members there were doing experiments in zero gravity condition. They managed to cover 80 experiments before they started their journey back, but the space shuttle claimed to have been good for almost 100 flights, but before it could finish its flight, it crashed mid in the air and we lost our famous lady Kalpana Chawla. Kalpana Chawla said that she never dreamed as a child in Karnal that she would cross the frontiers. Frontiers basically means the boundary, right, of space. It was enough for her parents allowed her to attend engineering college after she graduated from Tagore School. So here they are explaining that Kalpana's birth took place in Karnal, which is a place here in India. As you guys can see, I've put the map here, and here you can see it's Karnal. So she never dreamt of being able to cross the frontiers of space or even go into space anytime, any day. It was a great opportunity for her, and she was very thankful to her parents who allowed her to attend engineering college, and it was all after she finished her schooling from Tagore School. So back then girls weren't into education, but she did manage to get her degrees, her graduation in engineering. After a Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineering. Now what is aeronautical? Aeronautical is the science of flight, which means the operation of aircraft. Against great opposition from her father, she went for a master's degree to United States of America. Later, she earned her PhD in aerospace engineering. Kalpana Chawla was the first Indian American woman astronaut to blast off from the launch pad at Cape Canaveral, Florida, and participate in a successful mission in space. Her family from India cheered, along with staff at Kennedy Space Center, as they watched the Columbia lift off. So despite her father's opposition, who wasn't very happy to send Kalpana to a new place, she managed to get permission and do her master's degree in United States of America after she finished her graduation, or she got a degree in aeronautical engineering. She didn't stop there. She had that zeal to study more, and she did her PhD in aerospace engineering. That made her become the first Indo-American woman astronaut who took off from a rocket launching site at Cape Canaveral, that's in Florida. This happens to be the southernmost state of United States. It is at the southernmost corner, and she participated in the successful mission that went in space. Her family in India, they were very happy. They all cheered her success. Even the staff who was watching Columbia take off was very, very happy about their mission. Lift off basically means take off. So Kalpana was born in Karnal, Haryana, but was a naturalized US citizen. Now, who is a naturalized citizen? It's a non-citizen who's not born in the country who acquires citizenship or nationality. So she wasn't born in USA, but she acquired the citizenship of USA, and she was married to a flight instructor, Jean Perry Harrison. Besides being an astronaut, she was licensed to fly single and multi-engine land airplanes, single-engine seaplanes, and gliders. Now, what's a glider? It's a light aircraft that's designed to fly, for long period without engine. To fly for long period without engine. So you might have seen that. So she was also a certified flight instructor. After qualifying as a pilot, Kalpana began to consider another challenge, applying to NASA's Space Shuttle program. She was hired as a research scientist at NASA. In 1994, she was selected by NASA for training as an astronaut. So Kalpana was born, her birthplace was Karnal, which is a place in Haryana, India, and she became a US citizen. She wasn't born there, but she acquired the citizenship and married a flight instructor whose name was Jean Perry Harrison. So besides, which means apart from astronaut, she was licensed, she was allowed to fly, and she had the knowledge to fly single, multi-engine airplanes, single-engine seaplanes, and even the gliders, a flight aircraft that's designed to fly for a long period without the use of an engine. So she was also a certified instructor who can give instructions and teach how to take off the flight and other things. So after qualifying, after being allowed to become a pilot, Kalpana thought that I want to take up another challenge and do something big in my life. So she applied to NASA's Space Shuttle program. It is not where everybody dreams what everybody dreams of. She had big dreams. And luckily she got selected, and she was hired as a research scientist first at NASA. And finally, in 1994, she made us so proud. She was selected by NASA for training as an astronaut. So she was given training to be an astronaut. So when asked what it was like being a woman in her field, she replied, I really never ever thought while pursuing my studies or doing anything else that I was a woman or a person from a small city. Pursuing basically means following. Or a different country. I pretty much had my dreams like anyone else and followed them. And people who were around me, fortunately, always encouraged me, pushed me, and said, if that's what you want to do, carry on. So, when she was asked by a lot of people about her feeling of being a woman in this particular field of being an astronaut at NASA, she replied that she never thought that, she never categorized that it's being a woman or being a person from a small city or from another country that's going to impact or stop you. Rather, she said, I had my dreams and I chased them. I followed them, and everybody has dreams. And I also had dreams. I followed them like any other person would do. And luckily, the people who were around me, who surrounded me in my life, they always had a positive impact. Luckily, they were all so nice to me that they always encouraged me to chase my dream, to follow my aim, to follow my instinct. And this just told me clearly that carry on in the area where you want to pursue, where you want to reach. Kalpana's first space mission in the Space Shuttle Columbia was 15 days, 16 hours and 34 minutes long. During this time, she went around the Earth 252 times, traveling 10.45 million kilometers. The crew included a Japanese, a Ukrainian astronaut. The crew performed experiments such as pollinating plants to observe food growth in space, like zero gravity condition, and tests for making stronger metals and faster computer chips, all for a price tag of about $56 million. Now, what is pollinating? Here, it's a process where you grow the flowers by taking the pollen from one place and then fertilizing it in another flower, right? So basically, they're trying to grow plants in zero gravity conditions. So Kalpana told that her first mission in that space shuttle to the space was using Columbia, and it took her 15 days, 16 hours, 34 minutes to complete it, where she managed to cover 10.45 million kilometers while circling the Earth or orbiting the Earth for 252 times. And there were other people also with her. One was from Japan, the other one was from Ukraine. So they were multinationality astronauts. And they happened to perform certain experiments there. So the experiments that they performed was to check and try pollinate plants to check if food growth is actually possible in space, and also try to make stronger metals or maybe faster computer chips. So all these experiments need a lot of knowledge in different domains, and they all were doing that there. All those experiments were being carried out. So on the Saturday night, when the news about Columbia disaster broke, there was shock and disbelief. Disbelief means where you don't believe in anything. The town of Karnal slept a sleepless night as thousands of households stayed glued, which means stick, to their television sets in the hope that Kalpana and the crew had somehow survived. A journalist, a news reporter, wrote, "She was a heroine. It takes enormous, huge ability to become an astronaut. You need to know a lot about everything, from biology to astrophysics." So what is astrophysics? Astrophysics is basically a branch that studies the celestial body. To study celestial means heavenly bodies, the nature, their physical nature. Okay? So that's all about astrophysics. And if you need all knowledge from astrophysics to aeronautical engineering, aeronautical is the science of flight. In this age of super specialization, you must have encyclopedic knowledge to be an astronaut. Her achievement is awe-inspiring, which means amazing, remarkable, astonishing. So on Saturday, when her shuttle was about to come back, there was this news that broke out and people were filled with grief and were not able to believe about the disaster, what happened to Columbia Space Shuttle. They were stuck to their television, they were in shock, and they couldn't believe to themselves that Kalpana was no more. All throughout the night they were praying that, somehow Kalpana and the other crew members must have survived, must have escaped the accident. And even one of the news reporter or journalists wrote that Kalpana was a heroine. It takes huge potential courage to become an astronaut. You need to chase your dreams. And of course, not only have the courage to chase them and achieve them, but also to be an astronaut, it needs to have a thorough knowledge of every subject, going all the way from biology to astrophysics. It's the branch of astronomy that studies physical nature of those celestial bodies. And of course, aeronautical engineering, almost everything you need to know. And in this age of super specialization, where you've got in detail, where you need to have in detail knowledge of everything, one needs to be an encyclopedia to become an astronaut. So her achievements were actually remarkable. For millions of young Indians, the story of Kalpana Chawla, a girl from small town who touched the skies, had become an inspiration, something they look up to. In a message that she sent from aboard when she was on the space shuttle Columbia to the students of her college in Chandigarh, Kalpana said, "The path from dreams to success does exist. May you have the vision to find it, the courage to get onto it. Wishing you a great journey. There will surely be many who start off on this journey to fulfill their dreams." So Kalpana set an example to all the inspiring people who wanted to chase and become something big in their life. So it gave a new zeal to many young Indians that Kalpana, being a girl from a small town, Karnal in India, she managed to be creative, innovative, and touched the skies, achieved her dreams, followed them. She even sent a message from Columbia to the students of her college in Chandigarh, and she said that the path from dreams to success, from what you dream to what you achieve, it does exist. There is a path. You need to have that vision, that thinking to find it, the plan, and the strength or the courage to get it. Your belief in yourself is going to help you achieve everything. And I wish you a great journey. And there she said that there must be many people who might have started their journey. And of course, I am sure you're going to make it. You're going to make your dream a reality. You're going to fulfill your dreams. So that was all about the inspiring lady and the inspiration for many, Kalpana Chawla. In case you liked it, please like, share and subscribe.